This one? Okay. Okay. Hey guys, Damian here. I wanted to tell you a story today. It's a little different compared to the videos that I've done before about how a stupidly simple set of automations helped me save a cabinet factory $1,000 per day. Add it up to 30,000 a month or whatever math you want to do for that. I'm kind of bad at speaking everything out of my mind, so I put it in writing. Follow me on X, you'll probably see the article on there, but if you don't mind, I'm just going to be reading out of this, so I'll just let you know that this is a script. But essentially, it's a story of how I used automations to cover my ground while making the moves that mattered. To show you how even you can use automations and AI to create whatever outcome you want, no matter what your background is. And I hope this will be inspirational to you. First, let me give you some background. This company manufactures custom cabinets in Houston, Texas. I won't mention their name in this video, but you can probably find it if you dig deep enough. They aren't crazy big, but big enough to do most jobs. It was the old school way of doing things, and they still ran with it because they had the experience to do so. The problem was their lead sales rep quit due to issues that I won't disclose. And you know how they say that without your sales team, your company essentially dies. Well, that's exactly what happened here. Over the course of around 6 months, they stopped receiving commercial projects, which were the bulk of their revenue. And with that, a large portion of their work disappeared. And like a stack of falling dominoes, the employees, most of them, or some of them, half of them, decided to quit. It was around this point that I was exploring AI and automations in my spare time. I was trying to develop a special AI-based software for my aunt who owns her own little store, but that's a story for another video. My role in this company, however, was part project manager and part designer, aka for the cabinets, right? I had joined as a designer 3 years before and grew on to take more responsibilities since. In short, up until that point, I created documentations, set up basic CRMs, and also spent months learning cabinetry from scratch from our plant manager. He showed me the ins and outs of how to assemble the cabinets, the materials that would go in it, the hands-on experience, as most would call it. And this was so that I could develop a pricing system, since I had the skills with the computer, right? My task was to develop a pricing system on Excel for their production costs. And because of all the fine-tuning that had to go into creating such a sheet, I had somehow unintentionally developed the skills and knowledge needed to create estimates for projects from scratch. And to couple that with my skills with designing cabinets, I pretty much had the knowledge one would need to sell cabinets. I didn't have the ability to sell, but I had the knowledge that one would essentially need. So when things got dire, that's exactly what I decided to do. With the permission from the owner of the company, I revamped the sales process and made some changes, which I will explain. The new sales process needed marketing material and a way to get that out to the customers. We needed to update our product line anyways, so this was perfect. I then found some phone numbers for some of the vendors that the company used to, or still works with in a way. I called them in order to get specifications on some of the brands and boards that they had. These boards are typically priced by the thickness and the durability of the laminate that gets used on them, as well as the core that that board is made of. Laminate sheets come in multiple textures and finishes and can sometimes mimic the feel of real wood, and in reality it's just plywood with some resin and paper on top, which have decorations on them. It's a cost-saving thing, and it has some practical applications such as like waterproofing, if you do the edge banding well. That's the thing that goes around the board. And yes, I just fed you some unsolicited cabinet advice. You're welcome. In any case, I sorted the boards by color, finish, and price, as well as the popularity, based off of what the vendors had told me. And then I placed an order for some samples. because we will need samples to show them to our clients. In the meantime, I imported the pricing sheet that I had made on Excel onto a Google sheet. And this was where that stupidly simple automation came into play. The first one, at least. In reality, this wasn't supposed to be simple. It was a set of Google Apps scripts that would have taken me days, if not weeks, to figure out. I've had no experience doing any of that at the time. But the reason it was simple was because, you guessed it, I used ChatGPT. I asked ChatGPT, or rather, I told ChatGPT that I had these specific variables on each of these pages, and I wanted it to create a Google Apps script that will allow me to transfer some of the data from one sheet to the other, do some complicated math, change some variables in some rows and columns, and essentially what it did was let me set up a system that automatically calculated pricing for cabinets that used each category of finish and sorted them into price sheets with varying with differences based off of the finishes, of course. And then I asked ChatGPT to do me a second Google Apps script, which would essentially let me make a quoting front end that the new salespeople could use to quote all of our product. And the reason this was complicated is because, as I mentioned, I might have not mentioned this earlier, but we do custom cabinetry. So, semi-custom cabinetry. We use whatever materials we can get. We have a stock of materials that we use for these price lists, but we also do custom ones, so custom materials that the customers might request. And we do different varied sizes. So even though we have standardized sizes, as all cabinets do if you were to go to a place like Home Depot or any other store for that matter, we do those, but we also do other sizes, variations of it. That's why people come to us. Another bit of trivia. No, I'm going to stop with that. But yeah, essentially, I was able to create a quoting front end that'll allow the new salespeople to be able to quote these projects as well. And I was able to do all of this within a few hours. I was able to create that system within a few hours. This should have taken me days, at least. And I would have still screwed up somewhere because I had no experience with Google Apps scripts. I had some experience with Python, but not. And mind you, that sheet is also connected to our materials inventory list. So with up-to-date pricing, all I need to do to create a new pricing sheet is just one click of a button, and I have everything at my disposal, all customized and tailored to this one facility. Then I created a brochure that would accompany these price lists. So we could have a simple package that we could showcase our customers, the new revamped prices and product line that we had. The second thing is, since I had set all of this up in a Google Workspace account, I was able to connect Make, and you see where I'm going with this. So with Make, I made a few different automations. The first one was a basic mail sequence to send our new marketing material to our existing customers. The second was to scrape leads using Apify on Google Maps for businesses in the area. And the purpose of this was to do some cold calling and cold email outreach. The third was, of course, not an automation, but it was setting up extra domains, which I then connected to Instantly to run the leads that was scraped from Google Maps. The fourth, and if you're wondering how I got emails, it was email enrichment using any mail finder and have that sent on to Instantly. The fourth is I created an automated response for those who are interested. So this would reply to any interested lead's email with a thank you message and basic information about the company, a little more detailed than what was in the cold email, plus a link to a public access Google Drive folder that had the brochure and the pricing material that was automated. The fifth was a simple system for the salespeople to use. And since this was a local business, we still do door-to-door sales on an occasional basis. So this system was essentially to help them categorize their leads, essentially. Basically, I've shown this in an automation video before. It's a form that you can fill out your customer's information, potentially whether or not they're interested or not. And that sorts itself out onto a Google Sheet, and then an email will get sent to them with a personalized message based off of the conversation or the notes that they write down. It's a very simple one line. It's not complicated. Oh, the lights went off. What time is it? 1 second. I've automated my lights. Let me switch that on. Essentially, it personalizes an email and then sends again a link of the brochure and price lists so that they have a PDF copy for reference. The salespeople would typically give them a copy, a physical person as well. This is more or less a follow-up email that gets sent on behalf of them when they go to meet them. And with these in place, the sales team had newfound direction. They had things to work with now, right? And I was also able to focus on my own work. The calls and leads led to new local connections that have set up accounts with us. And it also brought back a few of the older clients because of our new product line. They wanted to see what that was about. And the craziest part to all of this is that having had to acquire the knowledge to apply the automations in a practical manner for the company, I became very confident about the product as well and being able to close deals. One customer came to us with a price that he had from a competitor, and that price was too good to be true, but he still asked us if we could do it for him at that price. Because I knew exactly how to price these types of projects, I could not only tell him that we couldn't do it, I could also explain to him why this price was impossible. I mean, he didn't want to hear it at first, but a few weeks later he came back and he told us that the other competitor actually had an error in their calculation the first time. Then they corrected it. And guess what? Their corrected price was slightly shy of what we had quoted him. And just to give you a mental idea of how big of a difference this was, they had quoted 60% less of how much I had originally quoted. So this wasn't cheap, or this wasn't small. This was massive. And the fact that I had not budged with the pricing, I think that convinced him that he could trust us and that he could believe in the fact that we were a company that knew what we were doing. Because to be that off in an initial quote is not something that's going to keep you sustaining, especially in a business like this. And needless to say, he is now a purchasing client. I won't go into specifics, but the project that we're about to start for him is well over 50K. And this wasn't an outlier either. As the law of synchronicity would have it, if you don't know Carl Jung, you should check him out. Don't be weirded out by it, but I'm telling you, it's very underrated stuff that he explains. But that aside, as the law of synchronicity would have it, our sales team was able to get in more clients looking for exactly what we were trying to sell at the times we were trying to sell it. And while my automations were running in the background, I was able to speak, design for, quote, and close almost all of them for many thousands each project. The automations did the heavy work that I would have otherwise had to go out and do myself, as we were so desperate. By delegating those tasks to AI, it left me and our team the energy, time, and the confidence to work on the deals that we had and meet all the deadlines for submissions and proposals. As we had limited resources, we needed to juggle multiple hats, and this let me fulfill the work that mattered and got us the deals that mattered. To be fair, this had less to do with the automation itself and more to do with the entire process. But the process couldn't have come to reality if not for the automations, so I think they should still count. Is the company in the green yet? Not yet. Not yet. But we are further away from the red than we used to be just 4 months ago. And it's only a matter of time. You might also be wondering why, at the time, I didn't just quit when things got rough. Everyone else left. Why didn't I? And that's because this was my first job here in America. After I had graduated university, I felt like I had nothing. I felt like shit. I felt like an absolute nobody. And when I first joined this company, truth be told, I screwed up so many times. I wish if I was the boss, I would have fired me. I was helpless beyond measure mentally, and even though on the outside I seemed fine, like many of us are, I think, unfortunately. But they didn't fire me. They let me stay. They let me fuck up. They let me grow. They let me make the mistakes and learn the new skills and create the new opportunities for myself. This idiot, who didn't even know how to remove a cabinet door, is now able to quote and sell custom cabinet projects. And I can probably just do that calculation on the back of an envelope for most cases. So no, I'm not quitting. Even though there may be other things I could complain about, I'm still sticking through. And that's my promise. But yeah, complex automation systems didn't provide this outcome. It wasn't a done-for-you lead generation system. It wasn't some multi-step closing system, nor some RAG-integrated AI assistant that communicates with clients or chatbots or voice bots or any of that. This automation was simply scraps and tools that I had put together based off of the things that I learned on YouTube to do the things that I had to do, the stuff that I wanted to do, so that I could do what I needed to do. That difference made everything. And just so you know, I did all of this while learning and creating and doing the YouTube channel and all of that too. So it's not perfect, but this is how I use AI. And if you take away anything from this video, it's this. And I quote, "Don't wait to use AI as a tool that will save you. In the coming months and years, it will be a powerful force that will seem like the solution to your suffering. But no, don't relinquish your control to AI, but instead use AI as a tool, as an extension of you, so that you can help save yourself." I should put that on Twitter. I think I already did. I don't know. But yeah, I think I'll end it there. And if you stay till the end, thanks a lot for watching. And I hope this story will inspire you to use automations for creating your own path and doing whatever it is that you need to do to be where you want to be. Stay safe and have fun. Cheers.